Hey latercon, my name is Ashley Lockerbie and I am the co-founder and chief marketing officer of Better Booch Premium Small Craft Kombucha. And I'm here to talk to you today about repurposing user-generated content, or UGC, to create a more compelling social media feed. So the world of the internet, social media, and just how everything is available to us, so much information is available to us at the click of a button, has changed consumer decision-making for good. Think about how you decide to purchase a new product. If there's several brands out there, chances are you're going to look at the peer reviews and you're going to pick whichever one has the best reviews. I mean, I know I do that, and you probably do too. So user-generated content is a great way to allow the customer to do the selling for you. So I once heard it said by an executive in marketing at Red Bull that we never talk about Red Bull. We always get other people to talk about Red Bull. And first of all, it's so obvious but so genius to have that be part of the design of their marketing campaigns. Right now, of course, Red Bull has a huge budget to bring on professional athletes and expensive influencers to all talk about their product, but with social media, it's so easy to find people who would just love to sing your praises. So that being said, I do like to think about the feed as from a 10,000 foot perspective. So think about a pie chart and think about what kind of content you're going to be posting and how often you're going to be posting it. So at Better Booch, we usually do about 20% studio product photography, 20% professional lifestyle photography, 20% inspirational content, 20% graphics, and then about 20% user-generated content. So we're really only having to spend a lot on about 40% of our content, which is awesome if you're a startup brand. So then you want to think about the style of photography that you're going to be posting, right? Is it bright and happy or more minimalist and spare? Is it modern or does it kind of have a throwback vibe? Because understanding your brand will really help you narrow down the type of UGC to repost. Because if it doesn't match your brand guidelines, then it's just not a good fit. So, and you also want to think about messaging. So whenever we're looking at our feed, because we do try and plan ahead, of course, that's why we use Later, such a great tool. We want to think about what the goal is that we're trying to get across. So for instance, if that week we really want to boost our direct-to-consumer sales, then the photography and video content that we post is going to be a little more geared towards direct-to-consumer sales, right? If we're trying to establish more brand awareness, maybe we're going into a new region, we're going to gear the efforts more towards that. And I'll get into a little bit later how you can use user-generated content for each of those scenarios. So, think about what copywriting, messaging you want to get across, and then choose content that fits that. Not really the other way around, because it will feel more authentic that way to craft the message first. And then you can always find ways to tie UGC to specific promotions, launches, events, or locations. So we do like to try and use content and post content of an event as it's happening, or right before or right after, so that it's relevant and that we can kind of generate a little bit of a buzz that way. But, of course, there's also evergreen content that you can post. So there's a couple different types of UGC, right? There's organic UGC that people are just posting on their own, people who love your product and have found it and want to share it with their friends. And then there's cultivated content, right? Which is content where you're working with the content producer to create whatever you want to put out there. So this is where you'd usually exchange some kind of incentive to get them to post. So whether it be a free case of kombucha, or a small fee or a large fee, depending on who you're working with. And whenever you're including an incentive, don't be afraid of getting pretty granular about what type of content you want from that person. So again, thinking about what your goal is. I'll use an example. Better Booch just rolled out in Whole Foods in the Southwest, so Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So we were previously pretty unknown in this region. And so what we did was we found a bunch of local influencers to work with. We sent them free product, and we gave them guidelines. Our guidelines are pretty positive, colorful, kind of has like an artistic eye. So we chose people that, first of all, that we knew could create content to match those guidelines. We don't like things to be super filtered. We don't like things to be too dark. We like to post bright, happy, realistic looking content that looks like it was taken in the real world, right? And so, first of all, we chose influencers who already are posting that kind of content. So it's just easy and we know they're going to come through for us. And then we said, we told them what message we want to get across. We said, hey, we're launching in Whole Foods specifically in this new region, and we would love it if you could try the product, maybe drink it, give us a testimonial about it, and then tell people where you found it at Whole Foods. And we got a really great response. We got a really great boost in that region from our online store. And of course, saw great sales at Whole Foods for that during the course of that campaign, and hopefully forever. So yeah, and then, there's another example where we were trying to launch a new flavor, right? So we have a new flavor out called Hibiscus Healer. It's hibiscus with white tea and cranberry and blueberry. And we wanted to let folks know that they could find it at Whole Foods and Lassen's and Erewhon and a number of other stores that we work with. So we sent product out to a bunch of influencers, and with the goal of, and we gave them a kind of a one sheet of, here's what the flavor notes are, here's why it's good for you, and here's where you can find it. And we were so happy with what we got back. And we also, of course, give them image guidelines too. So we say, we'd like a mix of product photography where the can is about 3/4 of the frame, and lifestyle photography where you're interacting with the product and it's taken from a more zoomed out perspective, so that we can have a mix on our feed, because it gets really boring if it's just people holding a can, which is really what we mostly post to stories, because that's what people post most often. So don't be afraid to ask for exactly what you want when you are providing an incentive, whether it be a fee or a free product. Okay, so let's talk about how to find the right partners, because there are so many choices, right? And nowadays with like fake followers, how do you know if someone's audience is real, if the engagement they're getting is real? So I'll go back to that example of rolling out into Whole Foods in the Southwest and how we found those partners. So honestly, what we would do, first of all, let me back up. There are tools that you can use to find localized people, micro-influencers or major influencers. One of the tools that we've used in the past is a company called Coley. They're really great to work with, super helpful and very responsive. And it's not super expensive, and you can get a ton of content by working with them. And they just kind of streamline it all through their own platform. So, but what we do if we're, bootstrapping it is that we will pick a brick and mortar store that we're in that region, and we will look at the content that account is reposting, because more often than not, they're reposting local people who have interacted with their location, right? And they're already kind of vetting the content, because they're probably, if they know what they're doing, probably not reposting bad content in the first place. So that's a good place to start. If you don't have a brick and mortar in that location yet, another way to find partners is to find a cool like local restaurant or a hike or, anything that's like outdoors or something that a local person would hang out at, and type that in as the location tag and search that location tag on Instagram. And you can generally find, and then look at the top. There's top posts and most recent posts. And if you look at the top posts, those are the posts that are getting the most engagement. So chances are the folks who are on the top post feed for that location probably have the biggest accounts. And then, of course, you've got to make sure that they actually are from that area and not just visiting. But that's usually pretty easy to find out if you're looking at their feed. So those are some sneaky ways to find new partners. And of course, use your saved function on Instagram. That is like becoming kind of a monster. It's like, Pinterest in your hand, which is so great. And I like to save potential influencers by region, just a little thing that I do as I come across them. That way I can tap into that whenever I want to market to that area. And then for organic content that people are posting, all you've got to do is just, if you like something that someone posts and tags you in, just reach out to them via DM or comment and ask them if it's okay to repost. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, yes, absolutely. Oh my God, so happy you liked it. They'll be really excited that you interacted with them. And then that's also a good way if you really, really love their content and they're posting consistently really great stuff that's not just your brand, they might be a good potential partner for you. So that's another good way to find partners, is just look at the organic tags that you're getting and work with those people who are already loving your product and would love to help assist it out, Lastly, and this is such a small thing that goes so far, you have to always say thank you when someone posts about you. Doesn't matter if it's organic or if you sent them product or paid them for it. Always, 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 always respond and say thank you, because if you think about in your own life, like who you would be excited to post about, what brands you would actually post about. I mean, I have to feel pretty strongly about a brand if I'm going to shout them out on social media and tell all my friends about it, right? So if I were to get a response from that brand, I would be stoked. And I'm sure your customers would be too. So always, always, always say thank you, say hi, say thanks for the support. And you never know what could come from that, Feel free to message me. My Instagram handle is @AshleyLockerbie. And our Better Booch Instagram handle is @BetterBooch, BetterBooch. So feel free to DM me if you have any questions, or just say hi and say you like the chat. All right, thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much, LaterCon, for having me.